Mount Pleasant and Daniel Island are without a doubt two of the most desirable places to live in Charleston. They both offer higher-end aesthetic, top-rated schools, strong real estate markets, and have less crime than other cities around the metro, but they have totally different lifestyles. So what are these differences? Well, let's dive right in. I think the easiest way to break down the differences between Daniel Island and Mount Pleasant would be to give you a general overview of each area. Daniel Island is located just northeast of downtown Charleston on its own mini peninsula, surrounded by the Cooper and Dewanda rivers. I-526 is the main artery to get on or off Daniel Island, with North Charleston to the west and Mount Pleasant to the east. There is not a road that connects Daniel Island to downtown Charleston, but you can typically get there in a 20 to 30 minute drive with usual traffic. While it might seem big enough to be considered its own suburb, Daniel Island is actually just an exclusive master plan community known for its quiet upscale vibes, walkability, and strong community design. But it's not just the golf courses that are incredible here. Daniel Island is home to some of the largest and most elegant looking houses in all of Charleston with the best design trends. And because DI is surrounded by two rivers, it has a ton of waterfront homes, making it a great place to look if you want to dock with deep water access. But they didn't just build incredible neighborhoods, they built an entire lifestyle. Daniel Island feels polished and self-contained, with beautiful trails, waterfront parks, a quaint downtown area, and even its own schools and churches. And also, Daniel Island has one unique feature that isn't found anywhere else in Charleston, and it's Credit One Stadium. Some of the biggest artists that have ever come to Charleston have played at Credit One. It's arguably the most unique feature on Daniel Island, and the great part is it's only a 10-minute drive or golf cart ride away from most of the homes here. Now, people choose to live on Daniel Island because they want that small town feel without sacrificing luxury or convenience. Think of it as an exclusive country club styled community that's isolated from everything else in Charleston thanks to the two large rivers. It's ideal for folks who want a peaceful golf cart lifestyle with high-end homes and top-notch schools. Everything is thoughtfully designed, from the landscaping to the layout of the neighborhoods, which makes it incredibly appealing to families, retirees, and executives looking for that all-in-one place to call home. Mount Pleasant, on the other hand, is one of the largest and most popular towns of Charleston, offering a wide variety of neighborhoods, home styles, and price points. Unlike Daniel Island, which is really just a big neighborhood, Mount Pleasant is an actual town, and a big town at that. In fact, Mount Pleasant is the fourth largest city in the entire state of South Carolina. It's located just east of the peninsula and connected to it by Highway 17 and the Ravenel Bridge. Mount Pleasant is much larger than Daniel Island in terms of land size and population. Its population is just over 95,000 people, whereas Daniel Island is around 11,000 people. Another pro of Mount Pleasant is that it has neighborhoods that were being developed long before DI even existed. For example, Old Village is the oldest neighborhood in Mount Pleasant and was already a coastal settlement before the town was officially founded in 1837. Mount Pleasant has everything from old neighborhoods that have been incredibly well maintained to newer master plan communities with elegant modern homes that mimic the ones found on Daniel Island. This area is all about flexibility and lifestyle options with tons of things to do. You're just minutes away from two incredible beaches, you have Shem Creek, and downtown Charleston to boot. On top of this, Mount Pleasant has some of the best shopping centers, restaurants, and schools in the entire metro. Living here just feels convenient. There are way more commercial amenities like big box stores, medical centers, gyms, salons, and local businesses. If you're the type of person who loves living in an upscale city with countless attractions, then Mount Pleasant could be the perfect fit, especially when compared to the limited shopping options you'd find on Daniel Island, for instance. People choose to live in Mount Pleasant because it has something for everyone. Whether you want a starter townhome, a luxury deepwater estate, or older historic home in an older neighborhood, you'll find it here. It's perfect for people who want highly rated schools, or plenty of store options, or local amenities, or if you're a beach lover looking for a quick access to the coast, or professionals who want a short commute to downtown. It's a larger, more diverse area and offers a better balance between the suburban convenience and that low country charm. And now that we know more about each of these areas, let's talk about something they actually have in common, and that's expensive homes. A big reason for this is competition is high, especially for move-in ready homes, and both markets often attract out-of-state buyers. I do want to unpack this point briefly. You see, the median household income for the Charleston metro is around $85,000 per year. Mount Pleasant, on the other hand, has a median household income of $121,000, making it 42% higher than the rest of the Charleston metro. And by the way, the Charleston metro has the highest median household income in the entire state of South Carolina already. The reality is that people who are buying in Mount Pleasant, and especially Daniel Island, are likely not from the area because locals have been priced out. Wages haven't kept up. However, once you're in, you're in. Both areas have high appreciation rates and are considered great long-term investments. Low inventory and high demand are why we continue to see rising prices. Because Daniel Island is smaller, there is even less available inventory, making it more expensive than Mount Pleasant. Pleasant. I used the past 12 months of sales data to give you the most accurate pricing over time that I could. On Daniel Island, the median sales price for a single-family home was $1.9 million, with a median square footage of nearly 3,500 square feet. For townhomes and condos, the median sales price was nearly $610,000, and the median square footage was just over 1,500 square feet. Now, let's compare these prices to Mount Pleasant. Because the city has grown so much, there are actually two different markets, which are divided into the north and the south. As a general rule, the northern market is where you'll find newer construction neighborhoods, and it's typically more affordable than the southern market. But for the sake of the simplicity, I'm going to combine prices in both markets to give you a better overall understanding of what to expect for home prices. Using the same methodology, the median sales price for a single-family home in Mount Pleasant was just under $1.1 million and had a median square footage of nearly 2,700 square feet. For townhomes and condos, the median sales price was $479,000, and these types of homes just had a median square footage of 1,400 square feet. So you can see from these numbers that single-family homes on Daniel Island are roughly $800,000 more expensive than the ones found in Mount Pleasant, and they're also larger in size. For townhomes and condos, they're about the same size, but the ones on Daniel Island are about $200,000 more expensive. However, I will caveat this by saying these are the median figures. On the low end, you can still find single-family homes in the 500s and up in Mount Pleasant, and just shy of $1 million on Daniel Island, so it may not be as far out of reach as you think. Price is usually one of the biggest factors for folks when they're trying to figure out where they want to live. And while both of these areas are pricey, Daniel Island is more expensive than Mount Pleasant, and this barrier to entry makes it tough for the average homebuyer to move here. Again, this mostly has to do with the fact that Daniel Island is much smaller than Mount Pleasant in terms of home inventory and availability. But if you have the means to afford it and you value living in an exclusive upscale community, then Daniel Island would be perfect for you. Shifting gears a little bit, let's compare the schools and how they differ in each area. Daniel Island has top-rated schools, but options are more limited than in Mount Pleasant. How I've heard it described by my friends and clients is that public schools on Daniel Island might as well be private schools. For kids K through 8, the public school here is called Daniel Island School. For high school, there are two options, Philip Simmons High School, or if you choose, there's a private Catholic high school called Bishop England. Daniel Island, despite being annexed as part of the city of Charleston, is served by Berkeley County School District. So Daniel Island is technically part of the city of Charleston, but we're in Berkeley County, which is areas like Somerville and Hanahan and Goose Creek. Mount Pleasant, on the other hand, has a much larger school system with more variety in school options within the Charleston County School District. So while Mount Pleasant is its own town, it's part of the Charleston County, not Berkeley County. The best part is that almost every school in Mount Pleasant is highly rated. While the schools here tend to have larger student bodies, that often comes with great advantages, like a wider selection of AP classes, electives, and sports programs for students to choose from. You'll also find a mix of both public and private schools options in Mount Pleasant. One thing I really like about Mount Pleasant is how many schools are conveniently located near major master plan neighborhoods. A perfect example is Carolina Park, where top-rated schools are built right into the community, making it easy for kids to walk or bike to class. Both areas offer excellent choices. It really comes down to what's most important to you and the kind of educational experience you want for your child. And shifting gears a bit, I want to talk briefly about access to the beaches and water. Both of these areas are in prime locations if you love boating, fishing, or kayaking. But if you love the beach and want to be there multiple times a week, Mount Pleasant may be the more convenient option because of Sullivan's Island and Isle of Palms are right next to the city. From most of the neighborhoods in Mount Pleasant, you can get to one of the beaches in around 20 minutes or less, depending on the traffic. In some neighborhoods like Oyster Point, you can be there in less than 5 minutes. But if you're coming from Daniel Island, you can expect a 20 to 30 minute drive to get to the beaches, depending on traffic conditions and where you're going. You can find great waterfront properties in both locations, but odds are the ones that you find in Mount Pleasant are going to be less expensive than Daniel Island because of its larger variety of neighborhoods. This means you can be more selective about the location and price, so you don't have to settle and could save money in the process. But if you want more exclusivity, then Daniel Island is for you. Mount Pleasant has an advantage of being right by Shem Creek, so after a day on the water, you can easily pull up, enjoy a great meal, and get back home in no time. From Daniel Island, it's a bit more of a trip down the rivers to get to Shem Creek and the Intracoastal Waterway, but you can absolutely make the ride by boat, and many residents love that part of the experience. If quick access to beaches and boating hotspots is high on your list, Mount Pleasant is definitely the more convenient choice. On the other hand, if you enjoy a more exclusive setting and don't mind a slightly longer scenic ride to the ocean and Charleston Harbor amenities, Daniel Island might be the perfect fit for you. Another important thing to highlight about both of these areas is the traffic. It can be tough whether you live in Mount Pleasant or Daniel Island, but for very different reasons. In Mount Pleasant, the issue is mostly from volume. It's a much larger area with a growing population, so you get daily congestion on Highway 17, the IOP connector, and I-526. Commutes can be slow, especially during school drop-off hours, when you have tourists going to the beach on the weekends, or during rush hour. On Daniel Island, the traffic doesn't come from within. It actually comes from everyone else driving through. You're right next to I-526, So commuter traffic from Mount Pleasant, Summerville, Goose Creek, and North Charleston all funnels through to the Daniel Island exits, heading north towards North Charleston, Boeing, and the airport. So even though the area itself is smaller and calmer, getting on and off during peak hours can still be a headache. It's not uncommon to see a line of cars filling 526 during commuting hours, and this is arguably one of the biggest annoyances when it comes to living on Daniel Island. But the good news is that traffic is very mild outside of commuting hours thanks to its small population. So which one is the right fit? Mount Pleasant or Daniel Island? If you have the means to afford it and you're looking for a smaller master plan community that's isolated with a country club feel to it, then Daniel Island might be the perfect match. It's peaceful, polished, and has that small town feel people fall in love with. But if you want more variety, a wider range of price points, top-rated schools, and quick access to beaches, shopping, and downtown, Mount Pleasant offers all of that and more. It's bigger, busier, and full of options. No matter which one feels right for you, we can help you find the best option for your personal situation. As one of the top real estate teams here in Charleston, we want to earn your business and be your resource for real estate here in the Low Country. Our contact info is always in the video description down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.